name is Jason JROCK Houston. You're listening to Under Influence. Tonight I'm speaking with Project UFO, which is a great UFO tribute band based out of Los Angeles. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're doing good, Jason. Super!
And we're talking to guitar player Mike Miller and lead singer Mike Miller and guitar player Joey Regets. How did you guys first get to this project together?
I would say it would be back November 2014. It's a recent endeavor.
Yeah, I think it's really a great thing because I'm aware of a couple other UFO tributes like around the country, but I'm not really aware of it. There was one out here in the LA area, so I think you guys got a great thing going.
There is another one, but I haven't seen them in kind of the circles of the places that we play at.
Yeah.
And we love UFO, and we thought it'd just be a great thing to put together.
And are you kind of surprised that there aren't more UFO tributes out there right now?
Not only that, I am kind of surprised that there aren't that many UFO fans out there. They know a few songs. They know Doctor Doctor. They know Lights Out, and then maybe Too Hot to Handle, and that's not where it begins and ends for a lot of people.
And let me ask you on that note, like even as we speak, UFO has a new album coming out with their current lineup, which features Vinnie Moore. Do you guys cover any of that newer material, or do you stick in primarily to the classic stuff?
At this point, we are sticking to the classic stuff. We want to make sure that people are familiar with the songs that we play from the get-go. So we figured we'd start with the known tunes, basically focusing on the Strangers in the Night live album that pretty much everybody who likes UFO has that album, and by many people, thinking it's the greatest live album of all time for some people. The Michael Schenker chapter that's UFO, I think are the most passionate fans. That I'm curious to see what the outcome is going to be after this first gig. I think a lot of people are going to. There's going to be a word of mouth, and I think a lot of folks are going to show up so that they can see this played live and not have to wait for just Michael Schenker group and or UFO with Vinnie Moore. And all due respect to both of those guys. But I'm curious, really happy to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, and let me ask you guys are playing this Friday in Long Beach at the PCH Club. You're on a great bill. I've talked to some of the other tribute bands that are playing that night. You got a Kiss tribute, Co-Ed Kiss. It's going to be their first night, their premiere show too. You got a Whitesnake tribute called Burn, and it's going to be their second show since they've formed. And so, how did you guys get in such a great bill with such a great bunch of bands?
Well, we're fortunate enough in that everybody in this band is either played together in other bands or are in bands. For example, Joey here has played with my cover band, Los Pendejos, that's been playing for about 20 years.
Wow.
In fact, we call him Joey Safe. He's like the fifth guitar, the second guitar player after our Johnny Cinco plays when we utilize our two guitar setup for some of the bigger shows. And Dave Gold, our bass player, he's the lead guitar player for Ed Force One, an Iron Maiden tribute.
Oh, wow.
Pretty popular.
Yeah.
Sherry Garcia, our keyboardist, is from the Deep Purple Experience. And what was the Leonard Skinner tribute that she was in? She was in a Leonard Skinner, I don't know the name. And she's been quite established. And last but not least is Chris Silva, the resident drum sled, as people call him, who's been in, he might be 8 bands right now, I'm not sure. He's a drummer for Electric Funeral, he's a drummer for Dia.
Wow.
He's a drummer for Full House, he's, I'm leaving somebody out. George Fire Band. He's our band. We're glad to have him. So we all have people that are kind of in the scene that have been playing, doing tribute shows, and we've all played the House of Blues before, and other venues like the Gas Lamp and the CH Club. And so I think we were kind of readily accepted quickly because of that.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you guys are seasoned veterans, especially the tribute scene here. And let me ask, because look at the Facebook page, I got to say, even just for being a tribute band, you guys got a great looking logo. Who designed the logo?
That would be the one and only Cherry Garcia.
Wow! I'm quite impressed. Now, like you're saying, a lot of people when they think of UFO, they think of like, you know, Rock Bottom or any of those classic songs that you were mentioning earlier. But how hard was it to come up with a set list?
Not very hard at this point. I think the challenge is going to become greater as we move on and have to do. We want to mix up the set list and we want to expand and do stuff from the Vinnie Moore era, do stuff from the Paul Chapman era, do stuff from the reunion with Michael Schenker, the Walk on Water CD album, which is a super CD. It's a great. I mean, it's good. Every song on that CD is good, and a lot of people don't know it. So, as we move forward and we have shows where we can only do an hour, it's going to be hard to choose what to put on the set list. At this point, it was easy.
Because
we're doing the hits, the ones that people know, and everything that we're doing is on Strangers in the Night.
Because the cool thing about doing a project like this is, okay, UFO's got an interesting history in the sense that, being that their band originally, from London, England, they got quite strong in in Europe still. But a lot of people when they think of UFO, they think of Michael Schenker, like you were saying, the Michael Schenker era, and a lot of the stuff that they're even still putting out here in the States today kind of gets ignored because people think of UFO, they think of Michael Schenker, and he's no longer with the band. And then you got Michael Schenker. People think of the Scorpions, UFO, Michael Schenker group, and he's still putting out great new stuff. So I got to ask you, Joey, how big of an influence was Michael on you becoming a guitar player?
I got turned on to Strangers in the Night in 1979, and I am not sick of that record till today at all. Just as passionate as ever, and then everything the Shaker did thereafter. It was unfortunate to see him leave UFO at that pinnacle point, but still, I'm still an avid fan, and it's so nice to see that his craft is as high as it's ever been. His quality of playing. So yeah, this is nothing but a cakewalk for me as far as my heart and passion in this. This is going to be a gas. It's just going to be outrageous. I never probably would have thought of doing this from the ground up, but when Mike approached me, it was like, oh my God, if this is with you, it's kind of a no-brainer. This will be outrageous. This will be really good. We got a band assembled in a week.
And so from the time you guys started on putting the project together, I guess you said last November, how long did it take you to get to the point where you are now that you really, feel comfortable in your ability to, be able to get there up on stage and perform these songs?
I think, well, as far as the timeline goes, probably...
I guess what I'm asking was there a lot of...
January.
I guess what I'm asking is...
We all have busy schedules and it's tough to get along, but we know that we're all pros, and that we bring it when the time came, and we'd have it, and we have it. We're there, so we're ready to go. But about just after the new year, we pretty much had it figured out.
And so I guess this first show will kind of depend on the future. Are you booking more shows as we speak now, or is it kind of you're going to wait and see how the first show goes?
We do have potential bookings that we cannot speak about at this time.
And so you guys are a self-managed band where you kind of book all your own shows, or do you have a manager helping you with that?
It's just us.
Just okay, that's cool. I got a lot of respect for bands like that, and that you do everything on your own. Where as opposed to having a guy in a suit telling you what to do, a lot of times if you're doing it on your own, you'll get better gigs and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know what you're getting handed every time, and this band is definitely full of people that have balanced lives and careers, and so the communication level is really high. That's a convenience, like you don't know. Yeah, welcome to being in a band, and that's a nice thing. So I think we'll be able to carefully plan out where the places are going to be, and like Mike said, we're going to be growing our set list, and so the learning curve will be a nice steady pace, and we'll just keep adding to the pot.
Yeah, as far as the show Friday, you guys going to be the first band to go on, or you opening band?
We are scheduled to go second. We go on about 9:15, I believe, LA LACTC is First Up.
Oh, okay. And so have you guys ever played at the PCH Club down here in Long Beach, or will this be your first time performing there?
This will be my first time performing. Me too. And Joey's. Cherry has performed there, as has Dave Gold, as has Chris Silva. The three other members of the band have played there in their other respective tribute bands. Dia, Ed Force One, and the Deep Purple Experience have all played there.
And one thing I really admire about the tribute scene is it's almost like a fraternity. Like you said, a lot of you guys have worked together before. You're in other tribute projects. And one thing I really love is how the tribute bands get together. Even they got a TV show, the world's greatest tribute band on Access TV. And a lot of the bands that get on that show, they go down and see their friends, when they have a taping at the show or something, or they take part in each other's TV telecast, which I just think it's a great thing for bands to help each other out rather than kind of competing against one another.
Oh, absolutely, and it is a fraternity, and you know what I like about it is everybody really looks out for each other. Everybody, I met so many great friends. They're just so cool. There's not a lot of egos because we're real about it. We know what we're doing as far as we're paying homage to bands that we love, and this is not original stuff we're coming up with. We're copycats. We're actors playing out music that we grew up and love, and just need to get out of our system. And the fact that people want to hear us is just icing on the cake. It's really nice. That's just the flattering part, and whether or not we get paid for it is just flattering to me. I'm doing it from the heart, and that's I've always played music that way, so I think I'm lucky to land on my feet that way, especially this thing. I can't wait to do this. This is going to be cool.
And let me ask you, as far as the kinship and the fraternity among the tribute bands, how excited are the people that you've talked to in other tribute bands when they hear about your project UFO? I mean, a lot of them are like, oh man, that's cool that there's going to be finally a UFO tribute that we can do shows with.
People are really excited because you never hear of this. There's multiple Van Halen bands, there's Motley Crue bands, there's some Metallica bands. My favorite's Damage Inc. But this just doesn't go on, and like Mike said before, there's a band out, I think, kind of plays Paladinos, that's part of the LA County Basin. I've never seen them, but we're the first out here. Nobody's doing it in our group, in our fraternity, like we were talking. So everybody's excited to hear it. All my guitar player friends, and this is going to be something else. I think you guys. I can't wait to see the show. Every time.
I can't wait to see the show Friday. I'm really excited to see, not just you guys, but all the bands playing that night. But I think especially in your case, because again, like you said, there's maybe another UFO tribute, but that's the thing. Paladinos is a great club, and they put out a lot of great tribute shows there. But for people like us that live out here, I mean, where you guys are playing Friday night, I live literally 2 miles away, just down the streets. But for a lot of us, to drive, take all that time, drive down there to where Paladinos is in the valley and that, it's a long drive. So it's great when you have bands, right down the street from where you're playing, where you live or in your own local area, doing what you guys are doing.
Yeah, Jason, it totally works for me too because I live in Long Beach.
Yeah.
So I like staying close to home, and it's tough. It's tough to drive across town. Even sometimes you're fighting traffic, and it's late night, and of course we all like to party a little bit, so you got to curtail that. Or your room, and then it becomes a bigger expense. So that's the convenience part is really nice. Playing close to home.
And I think another thing you guys should really consider, as silly as it sounds, is when I was doing research, looking for bands to interview, I did come across a couple other UFO tributes, but they're in the New York and New Jersey area, and Eddie Trunk, I guess, being that he's a huge UFO fan that he is, and he never gets tired of telling people that, I guess actually one of the UFO tributes out in that area, he kind of he went, he went online and he took some pictures with them and said how great they were. But that's a guy that if you could make him aware of your little band, he'd probably give you guys some support because he's got love for anything UFO related.
Yes, he does, and we love Eddie Trunk. I love that guy. He's awesome. The guy's keeping the fire burning, and obviously, as big a UFO fan as I am, I have a personal, actual, support of, his passion for that still, and he'll talk the same way as any of us as far as what our favorite era chapter of UFO is.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see that again. I was lucky enough to see the reunion in 1995, and wow, that was just like a really little kids, and then they had a brand new album to support that. So, but that, man, when you think of that's 20 years ago, and so we just got a little gasp of air there and enjoyed that, and boom, it was all over with. So, I'm elated to do this. This is going to be so cool.
And let me ask, because you guys, I can really hear in your voice the excitement and how you say that, you would do this even if you didn't get paid. Of course, I mean, who doesn't want to, make a nice living doing what they love? But at the same token, sounds like you guys are great friends and you get along. But I imagine throughout your career, you've also done the original music thing like a lot of musicians. And my question is, talking about UFO for a minute, Michael Schenker and some other guys in the band, rumored not to get along over years, and even other great legendary bands like Deep Purple, where some of the guys supposedly hated each other. Do you believe in what they say that when a lot of bands have that friction, it creates great music? Do you think that's really true?
Well, I'll start on that one. And it's proven to be true. I mean, look at Aerosmith. You got Steven Tyler and Joe Perry, the Toxic Twins. Continually, even to this day, fighting with each other. Yet they get back together and they make great music. So I guess it can happen. But like sports teams, I think if you have a chemistry amongst your mates, that you're just going to be that much better. You're going to be that much tighter, and you're going to look out for each other. It's going to be more fun, and that's going to come across. Because when people if you're going to entertain people with live music, and they're going to watch you, they want to see that you're having fun.
Yeah.
And doing a good job too. You can't suck. I think it can work both ways.
And so I guess Friday will be the true test to see really what kind of response you guys get. But I'm predicting nothing but good things for you guys. But what kind of response have you been getting as far as people checking out your Facebook page and leaving comments and stuff like that?
We've had some really good response. And again, I got to give Cherry Garcia a lot of credit for it because in addition to coming up with the logo, she's been shooting out the flyers, the pictures of, we get together. We've been doing things outside of band rehearsal to get together. We've been going to shows and hooking up with each other. Bonding outside of band bonding, drinking and carrying on and having all kinds of good fun and supporting our other friends and bands. But we've got 700 something likes already on our Facebook page.
Wow. And the cool thing about a band like you guys, I mean, just looking at the pictures on the Facebook page, like you guys are fans, obviously, that's why you're doing this, playing the UFO music, but a lot of bands, tribute bands, they go the extra mile of trying to look the part, trying to look like the guys. I think it's kind of cool that you guys are just getting up on stage, being who you are, and playing the music. Do you guys ever toy around with the idea of trying to look like the band members?
Absolutely not. And the thing about that whole aesthetic image, you've got to avoid the cheese factor, and some bands, I guess, don't care about it. Some bands pull it off. The guys in DSB that Don't Stop Believin' Journey tribute, perfect. Those guys look nothing like Journey. They're world-class players. I love those guys. They're a lot of fun to watch, and there's no wigs or none of that stuff. And God bless you if you're going to do that.
I mean, it goes both ways, like you said.
You want to avoid the cheese factor.
Yeah.
I think we'd have a hard time pulling that off. I'm going to put a mustache on Cherry.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly do. That's why I asked, because, like you said, some bands can pull it off, and it's not, to me, the cheese factory, whatever you want to call it, is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I'll give you an example, like the Atomic Punks. They're probably the premier Van Halen tribute out here, probably the original one. And the guy, the original singer, Ralph Sanaz, he's now doing Steel Panther. But anybody knows...
Huge fan. Yeah, me too. That's great.
Anybody knows anything about Ralph, he actually left Atomic Punk for a while to do L.A. Guns. And then he actually left L.A. Guns to go back to... the Punks, because he was making so much more money doing the David Lee Roth thing, and he finally really kind of found his niche. And now look what he's doing with Steel Panther. So anybody that says musicians and tribute bands don't have what it takes, or they're fellow musicians, I kind of laugh when I hear about it, because you guys, I think, kind of, no, like you said, you couldn't pull off looking like Michael Schenker necessarily, but you guys got the goods as far as being able to play the music, so you're just gonna go with what you got, and I think that's a smart move on your part.
Yeah, hey, Cherry just walked up.
Yeah.
We're doing an interview with Jason Houston of
Under the Influence project.
Well, this is an interview. I brought all your food.
Yeah.
She's so awesome. She feeds us at practice. She brought us food.
Well, that's great. Like they say, the weight of a man's heart is through his stomach. So I guess she's taking care of you guys. That's great. And so before I let you guys go, because it's really been great talking to you, you told me that you're going to be rehearsing tonight. So you're rehearsing for the show Friday night?
Yeah, we're just going to do a final run through, just tighten a few screws, rub off a few edges, and melt it a little tighter. Just a press rehearsal, if you will.
And so Joey, you were telling me earlier that Strangers in the Night is your kind of all-time favorite UFO album. A lot of people cite that album, and it's a live album. So what do you think, in your opinion, makes that such a great live album?
Joey, you want to take that one? I don't know, a lot of those bands I grew up with, they sounded so much better live. A few bands that I can remember, whether it be Kiss or UFO, things came alive. That used to be the magic moment for me and the fans, because these guys would play live, and it's not a reproduction of that studio album. It is way better. And I can't imagine. I don't care about the other. Me personally, I don't care about the other versions of those songs on the record. That album is just epic. It just stands on its stand. Like I said, I like that record since I heard it in '79. I'm not tired of it, and keep it coming.
Yeah, I mean,
the quality, the sound quality, the recording. There's a bit of overdubbing on it, but if you compare it to like Led Zeppelin live, and I love Led Zeppelin, that's my favorite all-time band, but they sounded crappy live a lot. It's sloppy. I think people are divided about that. Some people don't mind it because that's just the human side of things. That's how it's going to be delivered. And so you can like it or not, and that's the beauty of music. It's not for everybody, and whether it be somebody's lifestyle versus studio versus, there you go. It's just what motivates you or blows your skirt up. But that record, still, like I said, to this day, I can't believe it. It's like when I'm hearing it now, I can't believe the guitar tone, how good it is, and the performance.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like you listen. I mean, that's one album. You put something like that on, Kiss Alive, or even Frampton Comes Alive. Those are, or even Cheap Trick, Live at Budokan. Those are albums that's what a live album's supposed to sound like to me. I mean, you put any of those live albums on, and to me, it sounds like you almost feel like you were in the crowd the night that record was made. You know what I mean? You could hear. You can hear the roar of the crowd, and that's why I miss the days of, like, to me the best music came from the 1970s. I mean, I miss the days where every band had like a guitar hero. A lot of bands, it's like what's a guitar hero, or we don't do solos. I miss bands that had that guitar hero. I mean, look at guys like Blackmore and Schenker. I mean, even Peter Frampton and stuff. They just don't make guitar players like that anymore.
Randy Rhoads?
Yeah, Randy Rhoads, and he's an interesting story, because I mean, who's not a Randy Rhoads fan? But the interesting thing about that cat is, I mean, literally, I mean, his legacy is those two Ozzy Osbourne albums, and I mean, he died relatively young, but look at the influence and the legacy that guy left behind just on those 2 albums.
Yeah, I saw both of those tours. I was lucky enough to see them too.
Yeah.
And, wow, again, that guy's sound on a record, that production is against them. The songs are so great it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But when on the Ozzy tribute record, that's when things just they're just gigantic.
Yeah.
The tone, the performance again, it's huge. It's nothing like what is on the record. And wow, what a pleasant surprise that is, for the fans. Like, wow.
Yeah, and now, Mike, we were talking to Joey about his favorite UFO album. What's your all-time favorite UFO album? Is that possible for you to pick one?
Yeah, I'd say if it wasn't Lights, if it wasn't Strangers in the Night, it would be Lights Out. I listened to that thing. I wore that album out pretty good too in my bedroom on my turntable with my penny tipped to my needle put in the skin.
And I think another great thing you guys got going for yourself is the fact that, we were saying earlier how UFOs always, they've been more popular like in Europe than they are in the U.S. I mean, they got a huge fan base here, but I think they're bigger in Europe, especially today, because while they do tour in the U.S., they tour more in Europe. So I think that's another thing you guys got going for yourself, the fact that, the actual UFO doesn't do too much touring here in the U.S., and so there are the diehard UFO fans that will hopefully come and see you guys play the next best thing,
You said it, exactly.
Yeah.
You know who I put right neck and neck with UFO is Thin Lizzy.
Oh, yeah.
Another great band that has a huge library of songs that never splashed huge in the U.S. Yeah, they've got their 2 hits, but beyond that, people know them boys are back in town and Jailbreak.
And
I love their stuff too.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what do you think about guys have been part of these tribute bands? Now, what do you think of Scott Gorham, what he's doing now? I mean, obviously he's been living off the name of Thin Lizzy. I say rightfully so because he was a part of those songs back in the day. But now he's got his new band, the Black Star Riders, and they're kind of still the guys doing Thin Lizzy. It's not Phil Lynott. They do Thin Lizzy and they do the new stuff. What do you think about that?
I love them.
Yeah.
I really love them. I went and saw them at M15 last year or the year before, and they were great. They're really carrying on the Thin Lizzy legacy well. They've had different singers.
Yeah.
John Sykes was in the band, I think, for a while, or that was when they were calling themselves Thin Lizzy. I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah.
He's out. I saw that line too. But their new stuff, it still rocks. It's still good. And it still sounds amazingly like Thin Lizzy. And I like that they changed the name to Black Star Riders, paying homage to the great Phil Lynott, and at the same time changing their name because they really only have one original member to the band, Leslie Scott Gorham.
Yeah, and I think that's why people don't really have so much a problem with that, because they're not trying to bleed the name Thin Lizzy. It's kind of what it is. And like you said, Scott's the only original guy, and and then he's not just getting a bunch of guys from bunch of unknown guys. I mean, they recently added Robbie Crane on bass, who he's played with everybody from Vince Neil and Rat and George Lynch. So they've got some quality players in their band.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I really enjoy talking to you guys, and the reason I was asking you what your favorite album was, because I'd love to talk to you guys again after you do the first show on Friday, see how the show went, and maybe we could go a little more UFO and talk about those albums in particular a little more detail, and we'd really find out how you guys became UFO fans.
Yes, sir. Sounds like a plan to make new songs.
Yes, so let me just congratulate you guys on this great new UFO Project UFO tribute band, and I wish you all the luck with the show Friday. I'm going to be down there, so I'll come down and say hello to you. So
thanks, Jason.
All the luck with that. So take care, my friends, and I'll be in touch.
All right, looking forward to meeting you on Friday, buddy.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.